This is David Kurtz with TPM Media. We're here this evening with General Wesley Clark. There's been a lot of talk about Afghanistan.
Yeah. Well, now people are concerned because the Taliban's come back. This was entirely predictable. And it's a result of actually a mission that's gone on for over 6 years now that's never really had adequate resources and the right kind of top-level work to bring it to resolution successfully.
So do you think that it's merely the lack of credibility of the current administration that
I think that's
scares
a major.
NATO off?
I think it's a major problem. I think if the United States has new leadership and different leadership and comes in with a strategy that makes sense, I think you can get some of the NATO nations to dig down deep and produce a few more resources. But this is not a matter of a few hundred soldiers. That's not going to change the outcome here. First of all, it's a matter of really working the economics inside Afghanistan. How do you give people a job? How do they have hope? And then it's a matter of providing security along the border. And that means really strengthening the ability to interdict the groups that move back and forth across the border.
Between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Yeah. And that's a lot of technology. It's maybe some more troops, but it's also a clear understanding that you're not going to win this war by flying Predators over western Pakistan and then firing rockets into housing compounds. That won't win it. No, they may be bad people in there, and maybe we've got them identified exactly right. But killing one or two people is seldom the answer to an insurgency like this, because as long as people have belief in the cause, hey, the lieutenant steps up and takes the captain's job, or the major takes the lieutenant colonel's job, and it goes right up the chain of command, just as it would in any other force.
Is it a counterinsurgency operation that we need to mount there?
It's partly counterinsurgency, but it's more than counterinsurgency. It really is nation building in the most fundamental sense.
I'm joined now by Rand Beers, former National Security Council aide in the Bush White House, and also by Richard Clarke, who is a counterterrorism advisor to the Bush White House as well. Richard, there's been a lot of focus on Afghanistan this past week, particularly McCain's first official declaration that he would considering additional U.S. troops to Afghanistan. I was talking last night with Wesley Clark and about what's needed there, and there's been a lot of talk from both campaigns about additional troops being needed. But General Clark describes it as a real nation-building effort, not just a counterinsurgency, but an entire nation-building effort. Is anyone proposing enough troops to do that?
It's not a matter of just more troops, and there aren't that many troops that are needed. It's not a matter of troops alone, and we don't need a great many more troops. It's a matter of a comprehensive strategy that involves working with Pakistan so they do what they have to do on their side of the border, and changing the economy in Afghanistan and giving people some hope, because you can't just fight your way out of problems like this. And nation building is a lot more than fighting. It's teaching, it's economic development, it's social reconstruction. And a lot of United Nations agencies are better at it than we are. A lot of Europeans are better at it than we are. And we need to make this an international effort.
A lot of the focus on Afghanistan obviously has been the counterterrorism aspect of things. Putting on your counterterrorism hat, is Afghanistan where we should be focusing, or is it Pakistan?
But it's both. I mean, the border there is an artificial distinction when you're looking at what the problem is. And the problem straddles the border. And the Afghan government and the Pakistani government are at each other's throats. We got to get them working in parallel with the same goals in mind, and we have to get them to yes. We have to make that possible through diplomacy, through economic development, and yeah, we have to use force.
And at this stage, is Pakistan giving us the free rein to operate within the Northwest Territories that we need to actually address the problem?
Well, no, they're not, and we don't need free rein to operate militarily there if they do the right thing.
Afghanistan's never really been an integrated nation. It's always been divided by ethnic groups and tribes and languages, and the king has always been a coalition. He was a coalition figure. He had to deal with regional warlords even when he was king, and they had power. They still have power in Afghanistan, and Hamid Karzai is a member of one specific ethnic group. And, standards they're not the same across the world. I know in the United States we believe in good government. And we even try to practice it. And sometimes we do it better than at other times, but we're not perfect either. So when you look at a place like Afghanistan, you'll find a lot of things that are questionable about the practices going on in Afghanistan with respect to how the police operate and
well, in a
payoffs and
counterinsurgency,
corruption and things like this. So all of these factors, they're all part of the problem. It's not simply a matter of saying, there's 100 bad guys out there in that town, let's go kill them. These families in Afghanistan, many of them have children on both sides. So what they do is they put a son with the Taliban to get protection, and they put a son with the Afghan National Police to get protection. That way they've got both sides covered. No matter what happens, they come out safe, you know. Oh, you can't do anything to me, my son is, you know, and they show it. This is a survival strategy for these families. You have to change the environment to really reduce this insurgency.
Are either candidate proposing enough troops to mount a counterinsurgency in Afghanistan?
Well, I don't know even if
professional
that's
military
enough troops, but I do believe that Barack Obama's approach to more or less de-emphasize the military in relation to the other elements of U.S. power is fundamentally the right way to go about this.
And the big issue is, are there enough reserve troops anywhere in the U.S. military to send to
If you come
Afghanistan?
out of Iraq
Can't do both?
and draw down, let's say, 7 brigades in Iraq and had some of that force able to put in Afghanistan, but without going to Afghanistan, doing a real survey of what's necessary there, I don't know what the right number is, and I doubt that anybody does.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's General Wesley Clark. This is David Kurtz for TPM Media. We'll talk to you next time.